What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about SoundHound. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what is really moving it, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So today's been another wild day. SoundHound down 2.13%. 10.35 the low, 11.47 the high. So hats off to those individuals that were able to kind of catch the dip. But 28.08 million shares being traded, 38.2 is the average. So when it comes down to today, there's a lot of different things really influencing it. One of which was this right here. So we did have a lot of data, a lot of flash data. So composite manufacturing and services. Somewhat mixed, but still the services one, that's more of the touchy consumer linked one. And so services came in at 55, forecast of 54, previous 54.8. So it is improving. Aside from that though, you also did have composite improving, and then Michigan consumer sentiment coming in at 51 versus a forecast of 50.3. But the 5-year inflation expected came in at 3.4. So at the end of the day, market took this as a good positive. Prior to that though, you did have also Fed speaker very early this morning at roughly around 7 a.m. Williams signaling that for the upcoming December meeting, we might be seeing a rate cut. Market seemed fairly optimistic based on that, but still somewhat hesitant up until that data. And interestingly enough, normally you don't have Jim Cramer and a couple other individuals like bringing down a Fed speaker, but you do have, for instance, whatever reason, maybe Jim Cramer has a short position on the broader market, but he's saying that Williams is speaking prematurely. So you kind of have this back and forth. So some people are believing in this rally and this nice push higher. Some feel that it is kind of fake. Of course, for those of you that like to watch my channel, you know I like to look at the data. So if we look at the true data, it does signal that it is fake. Regrettably, you see a lot of institutions selling. So this whole hype up was largely algorithmic trading, moving it higher. And this is why I absolutely hate algorithms, because it's hollow. It is fake. It's a lot of small micro transactions. So big money was taking advantage and selling as it was really moving higher. So something, again, just to kind of keep in mind. Aside from that, there really hasn't been any news associated to SoundHound. So no press releases, no SEC filings. Shorts at the time of doing this video, they are increasing 834,000 shares. So for those of you, again, that like to watch my kind of channel, I like to analyze this. So the fact that shorts are increasing, they also don't feel the recovery is justified. 28.38% of the free floats being shorted works out to be 107.5 million shares overall being shorted. So not necessarily the best. Looking at options, 3.4 million in calls, 3.2 in puts, and then 45% of all the options being done are bearish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around kind of 11.50 to 12 going into next week. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 10. With today being Friday, this is the open interest. So you don't see anything that would result in like a gamma squeeze. If maybe SoundHound was closer to $13, maybe, but unfortunately, given the circumstances, not so much. These are some of the transactions occurring on the dark pool, and given how active shorts are, it is fair to assume that most of these are linked to shorts and are institutions kind of selling. Again, shorts kind of increasing is them selling first. Aside from that, with it at 10.99, it is trading between this S1 and this S2. So 10.77 is going to be a strong support. 11.58 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So it does look like the hype is starting to fade. One thing that clearly the market did somewhat believe Williams is because this did jump up from 39.1% to now a 69.1% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut. So the market's somewhat torn. Clearly, they did somewhat believe Williams, but maybe a lot of larger institutions didn't. Aside from all of that fun stuff on the actual chart, there's not really anything positive to bring up about SoundHound. So you see stochastic RSI extremely oversold. So I guess that's kind of the only positive. You don't see any real momentum building on the actual chart itself. Market position, you see very little willing buyers. And again, algorithmic trading was kind of the big culprit on why it did really move higher. So yeah, it's just a lot of the institutions that have their bids, they didn't really move it up. They kind of kept it the same. There really wasn't that much in articles coming out, in case you didn't know. So I did a video on a couple other stocks. I think I did Resolve yesterday. And one thing that really popped the optimism was Cook, another Fed speaker, but Cook did say that the market is just highly elevated due to the multiple. Even though I really do like SoundHound, coming from a multiple standpoint, it is relatively high. So this is why you are seeing more of a somewhat a reset. So I myself, I did take advantage and I bought a little bit today. Unfortunately, I didn't catch the $10 range, but as I've mentioned, the best thing to do with SoundHound is dollar cost average. It's very difficult to kind of catch the highs or the lows, but if you dollar cost average over time, it should kind of even itself out. And the market seems to be very, very picky right now. So let me know your general thoughts on all of that in the comments below. Aside from that, there hasn't been any new analyst ratings, and like I already mentioned, no real articles coming out. So it's just been at the mercy of the broader market. Once again, for those of you that want to dollar cost average, just refer back to this for strong support and resistance point. So right now with that 1101, it is between this S1 and this S2. So 1077 and then 946 as support levels. So I think in general, a lot of people got too hyped up and started to kind of chase just many stocks, not SoundHound, because they actually do produce a fair amount of revenue, but a lot of, for instance, quantum stocks have no revenue whatsoever. Normally I don't actually like kind of betting on a stock or wanting a stock to go down, but in all fairness, ticker OKLO is a prime example. So if this is a true bubble popping type of thing, people are going to refer back to OKLO. I even did post this on my Patreon when it was roughly around 130 or 120, saying, hey, you know what? I wouldn't recommend shorting this, but buying a long put. And once the market finally realizes that this is way too overvalued, it's going to go down. So it's finally paying off, but definitely it did hold on for dear life. And it had a high of, was it $193? That is insane. So I think just a lot of quantum stocks and speculative stocks are giving the broader market a very bad name. So let me know your thoughts on SoundHound. Are you buying? Are you selling? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.